Happy about that.
This meeting is being recorded.
There you are. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi,
Hi,
Sidra.
Frank.
Hi,
Let's see your
Judith.
shirt.
Hi, Cathy. Hi, Joellen. And hi, Jenny.
Hi, Frank. Hi, everyone.
My shirt,
That is cute. It's cute.
I got it in Ireland in 2017. It's my favorite t-shirt.
Oh, I love it.
Mhm.
I'm at another men's knitting retreat in upstate New York, about 45 minutes from Albany.
Nice.
And it's 90 degrees here with no air conditioning.
Oh my God.
So I'm not wearing my sweater today.
Oh,
We'll let you off.
the opposite of here.
Yes, I had a flight home and they said I had to change it because I had a layover in Denver and they couldn't do the layover. This is tomorrow. They were expecting that it wouldn't be able to land in Denver tomorrow.
I think they were wrong. It's already cleared out and sunny.
Oh, is that
Um,
right?
We only got, I'm down at my daughter's in Denver. They were only predicted to get about half a foot of snow and it's already melted. It's warmer than they thought it would be. It's like 35 or 40.
Oh, so it's not going to last long.
No, mm-mm. I think my tomatoes are okay. When I go home tomorrow, I'll find out.
That's a relief.
Yes, that was my biggest concern.
Joellen put in chat that she's working on her audio.
Ah, okay,
So
that's
that's
what's
why
going
we're
on.
That's
having
why she hasn't
trouble
talked to
going
us.
on. Right. I'm actually in a fairly dark room, and so I can't knit this hour. But it was the only place I had privacy to do the Zoom link because there's 60 men here and they are gathered in every possible space except the room where I sleep. So I'm in the room and I may have to leave if it keeps getting warmer through the hour.
You do look a little flushed.
Yes, I have been drinking water by the gallons for a couple of hours because I think I got dehydrated. You know, complain I'm glad Ron's not hearing this because he has 120-degree weather all the time in the summer. It's like 90 degrees, that's cool.
So have you been out on any visits anywhere, or is it just staying at the retreat?
It's just staying at the retreat. They offer various workshops on different subjects. And I took one this morning on making miniature jumpers to use as Christmas tree ornaments.
Oh,
I wonder if I can find mine. It's here somewhere. They're really cute. Oh, I should have gotten it out and been ready to show you all. What's that?
Yeah.
She's on. She's got audio.
Did you see visual of my wild son?
Yes. Yes. And he fixed it.
Harry, oh yeah, he can fix just about anything. Refrigerator goes out, he fixes it.
Handy to have around.
Yes, very much so. Now I'm going upstairs. Sorry, going on a little trip with me.
Oh,
Okay, the ends are not woven in. Let me see if you can even see this when I hold it up. There we go.
oh,
oh,
It's a little jumper. See, there's a neck hole here, and you put it on a little hanger, and you hang it on your Christmas tree. And you
Oh,
put different kind of designs on it. A Christmas tree. I did a snowman. I only brought 2 colors of yarn. I didn't know really what we were going to do. So I just had red and blue, but it works okay. And it's so
very
cute.
It is.
It takes a couple of hours to knit one. And so I thought, well, I could knit a bunch of these and give them away for Christmas.
That's a good idea.
You can hang that on your rear view mirror.
Was- Yes, hang it on your rear view mirror.
Cindy says hi. She's
Oh.
at a graduation.
Oh, right.
Oh,
She
Yes.
mentioned it. Yes.
Yes. One of her granddaughters is her grandson or granddaughter. I can't remember.
I think it's granddaughter.
I think it is too. Yeah. No, she was all excited.
Oh, must be something.
Well,
I'm sorry I'm so late. I will say I do have a request of the collective whenever you.
go right ahead. Go right ahead, Joel.
Well, thank you, sir. I have gotten to the bottom of my sweater and I love the invisible bind off, which I've done, and it works well, but I cannot envision getting enough thread for me to drag through, continuously all the way around without losing some power on my thread, because it's a Rowan shape, I think is the name, where it's thin and it gets thick, etc.
Oh,
And so I have a thing that I want to propose, which is I've lately been practicing when I add a yarn to do what I think is called felting, where you unravel the ends of 2 of your yarns and you put them together, crossing over one another, and you do this and it becomes one yarn.
Spit something, spit, how do you call it? I'm sorry, my English is spit
Oh,
Yeah,
something.
you're felting it together.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm felting the 2 ends together to make it longer. So instead of starting with a piece of yarn that goes from my house to across the street to the neighbors over there to go around, I thought I would start with something a little smaller, like 2 or 3, or maybe 2 feet. And when I get to a point, just felt on again and go another extension. So I don't have so much while trying to do my invisible bind off. What you think?
how successful does that yarn felt?
It does well. It is, I'll hold it up just so you can see it. I'll tell you what it's made of. I don't know.
Oh, that's so pretty.
It's really,
Mhm.
And what it is, and I haven't used it before, it's 54%, no, 54% cotton, 34 wool, and 12 silk. You don't really see the silk at the 12% very much, but in that it's the thick and the thin, I think pulling that through a long ways through over and over again, it's going to wear it out and make it fray maybe.
my concern is that the felting the 2 ends together may not hold as you pull that through repeatedly.
Mm-mm.
And because it's not 100% wool, so the cotton and the silk don't really help in felting the ends together.
Okay.
So what does somebody else think? Any other opinions on that?
that was mine exactly.
Right.
And yeah,
So have you had any, does anyone had any difficulty in pulling that long thread through so much? Has there
well,
been
I would
any
say
issue?
with cotton and silk, with the, well, depending on how it's tightly it's twisted and plied. With the silk, of course, is really strong and the wool is strong. It's just the cotton. I don't know, how it'll do.
What about if you ended up felting the part that is not the thin part? Making sure that you felt the where it's thicker.
Thick, where it's thick, yeah, yeah,
That might, and especially if you go down, instead of just a short amount, you go a big amount to
Right.
felt it.
right, exactly. Oh, yeah. So so a thin part, no, a thick part,
I do it thick to a thick.
felt it down real good. Yeah,
And the other thing I would do is also swatch and see if do a good size swatch and see if you can,
yeah,
that
good
would
idea,
work.
yeah.
Or you could use a different bind off too. I mean, it's not,
Well, I did begin that, and I went about 8 inches, and then I had this thought about the felting, and I was sorry, before I went much further, I wanted to talk about it. I kind of wanted to do this sweater absolutely exactly like the pattern, so I could just look at, it on the way through. But yeah, I may have to resort to that other kind of bind off, and only at the bottom because of the length is so much.
I would definitely do some experimenting on a swatch to see if the
Okay.
felting holds up as you pull it through multiple times. And also just to see if you like the look of it. I mean, I don't know how well it will work if it's, a variegated size or thickness. It may not actually give you the look you want on the edge.
Right,
But I mean, you can tell all that by just doing an experiment.
right. When I felt it down, you can't, it just depends on how long you want to do this as to how thin that will go. So that you won't have a big wad that you're trying to get through.
Hmm.
Okay, I like that. Thank y'all.
what about the idea of doing the same idea to one long piece of yarn and maybe doubling the yarn and felting in pieces to make it all one thickness?
I'm not sure I'm envisioning that. So I cut the big long piece, and you
And
say
just-
felt all of that?
Yeah,
All
make it
down?
stronger.
Mhm. You're
I
making
mean,
fire.
you'd have to, yeah.
You got the right
You'd have
idea,
to-
Joellen.
Persistent in order to do that, I think.
Yeah, that would be good to try that and the swatch.
Yeah.
Okay. So what did I miss? Well, on my journey trying to get the volume going.
You missed us all saying hello. So hello, Joellen.
Oh, hello. Hello.
That's all you missed. Cathy, I just saw you hold up something. What was that?
Oh, I'm working on a sweater,
Ah,
but there's the bottom of it.
Mm. Ooh,
That's
nice
great.
pattern.
It's just gonna be a tunic, and I've shown this swatch before, I think. Yeah, because
yes, you've shown us the
the
swatch.
rock said it looked like a flag. This one here. So most of it's gonna be there. See that bumpy?
Mm-hmm.
Bumple.
That's hard
is
to
a-
see. The zigzag we can see clearly, but the other part is hard to see. Hold it very still.
Yeah, it's hard to
Ah.
see.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
I
now
can
I
see
see it.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
How is that
So anyway-
produced?
Huh?
How is that produced? What is it making the bumps?
Oh, I kind of invented this thing where it was a slip stitch technique,
Uh-huh.
but I forget. I yarn over and then I do something and then I twist it twice and make the bump.
Oh,
like a pebble.
cool.
See, it's a river. It's a creek bed, like where I used to grow up, play in the creek.
Oh,
Mm.
Pebbles and flowing water and stuff. So,
wonderful.
so, which is all not there anymore and covered over, and protected so that no small child can drown in the creek or throw firecrackers in the creek, either one.
Oh.
That's what we used to do. Oh, I have another swatch to show.
Oh, okay.
Anybody else have show and tell? Well, let me see if I can find it. So Frank, one time, remember you, I don't know if you remember, but once you said, why don't you hire some professional knitters to help you make sweaters so you could have samples? So that's
said
what I'm
that?
doing. Yeah,
I
you
don't
said that to
remember
me.
saying that.
I think it was in an email.
Okay.
So I took you up on it, and I had really good success with the first one. And now I met 2 other people at the conference last month. Was it last month? And anyway, one of them is going to do a sweater, and it looks, here's the peplum. There's a peplum.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Mhm.
And then the lacy part above, which is most of the sweater, and that's that part.
Oh,
That's pretty.
Wow.
I'm really happy with that lace. It lays flat. I haven't blocked it at all. And
Oh,
I'll block the peplum a little bit so it lays out. But I figure, if you don't have hips, then it's fine if it does some more like that. And if you do have hips, it'll spread it out anyways.
uh-huh. Oh, that'll be great.
I think it'll be fun. I think she'll enjoy doing it. She had a lace sweater in the fashion show, and so she's pretty good at lace.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a good idea. Took some
Well, I'm
stress
not
off.
going to claim the idea because if it goes wrong, you can't blame me.
Well, I have figured out one thing is that they only do the knitting, and then I do the seaming and finishing. Oh, because like
Very
on this lace one, I
interesting.
haven't decided what I want to do for the button band, and I won't know till I see it. Really, I know how they want the pieces to be trimmed out, but I don't know the button band yet.
Oh,
So, I just haven't decided because I want to see it all together. And so, and because on the last sweater, I was in a hurry and I didn't look at the neckline, and I wanted it to be down at 5 inches, but I didn't make it at 5 inches. I made it at 3 inches, and it was shorter than I wanted. So I have to rip that out. Plus I had this little embroidery thing, and the color wasn't the right color because I made a bad choice there. So I have to go back and do that too.
oh,
I don't have it with me, so I won't show you, but I'll show you after I get it done.
it's very interesting what you said about having them knit the pieces and you do the finishing. I took a design workshop with Deborah Newton. Do you know Deborah Newton?
Yes.
I mean, she's written several books, and
She's my favorite writer. Yeah.
she publishes in Vogue Knitting all the time,
Mhm.
and she's done several books, and one of them is on finishing. And she said that's what she does. She has professional knitters who knit her pieces, and she loves to do the finishing. It was amazing. She said, I don't know why everybody complains about doing the finishing. I love it. It's my favorite part of working a sweater. So I don't know
Yeah,
why she thought that, but
it's the
You're in-
little details that make it unique,
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so that way I can make changes without having to rip out if I decide I want something a little different. And it's always, the details around the neck or something that you might want different. Because I can envision things pretty well, but not completely. So that's, I got to make sure I I've not ever have had anyone do that before, and it's a completely different ballgame. Throw money at it. Doesn't always work though.
No. There is a new program, or a fairly new program at TKGA, that is a professional knitters certification. And it's specifically to prepare people to be test knitters and sample knitters. So if you're looking for somebody to do that, you might go to TKGA and ask who has become certified and if they can recommend somebody. The whole idea is that if they get certified, then you can know that they're going to knit it properly.
Mm-hmm. I was really happy with the one woman who did it. I think she was certified last year. We're in 2020. I forget. Yeah, they're all professional certified knitters.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that was your suggestion.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
That he'll accept.
That would be where I got the idea. Exactly. Come to think of it. If I suggested that, it's because I heard about that program.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just love the Knitting Guild Association, TKGA. They changed my life by certifying me as a master hand knitter.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm almost done with the design. I have to get some. Does anybody have any books on fiber? I have one or two on wool, but I don't have anything on anything else except wool.
Mm.
Well, if you know of something, put it in the chat and I'll look it up. Cindy doesn't have any either. But that's my next thing is we have to do a fiber report for that design. And Ron's not here. I guess I could email him and ask him what he used. But I know what I want to talk about, mostly just natural protein type yarns, but I don't have any references. She didn't put any in her bibliography for that.
Oh,
Or I'll just get online and look and see what there is. Maybe I'll email Donna and ask her too.
does anybody else have something they'd like to share with us? Something you're working on or anything else?
Sure. So,
Who's speaking? Sidra?
Sidra. So
Oh,
Nice.
this is called Wool and Ivy, I think it is. And it's reconditioned Malabrigo Rios. So one of the big mistakes I made on this thing, big one, was when I was changing colors of the yarn or changing skeins, I had I don't know if you can really see this too well. You can see this line going down here. I was pulling too tight.
Oh.
So I had to take out like 4 inches of it and loosen it up a bit. I'm still a little too tight on swapping the skeins because I'm now doing it every other row. I was doing it every row. And then my other fear is I'm going to run out of yarn for the sleeves.
Oh,
Oh no.
But I still have this. So I'm about ready to, just say, heck with it. Let me do the sleeves before I do the ribbing, or before I keep on going. And maybe I'll do the neck ribbing and then I'll, come finish up the rest of the sweater after that. We'll see. I have no idea what I'm going to do. If this doesn't work, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. So
today somebody called that playing yarn chicken.
oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And I have my swatches that I could, recondition again and, all that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm working on.
I hope you win.
Same here. Should be enough, I hope.
Yarn chicken, that's funny.
It is definitely yarn chicken.
It feels like that sometimes, doesn't it?
Yes.
It does.
Oh, I can't run out yet.
Yeah, but you realize if you're running low, what you have to do is knit faster. You get that. If you knit faster, it works.
That's right.
Then the other problem with this yarn is that I guess because it was reconditioned, every so often there's like a strand that's split,
Oh,
you know, and it's like sometimes I knit through it and kind of, you know, have that little strand hanging out a little bit and cut it down. Or if it's really thin, I cut it and you know, or if it's too big, I cut it and you know, add it back in, you know, go back to adding it in. So I don't know if I'll recondition again.
so what is reconditioned? What does that mean?
Tearing apart, you know, a sweater or project and,
Okay.
you know, redoing it again.
Yeah.
And do you do something to it to straighten it out?
Just soak it.
You soak it?
Oh,
Yeah.
Do you dry it on some magic stretching?
Just hang it up
device?
on a, like, I rewound it, you know, soaked it that way. And
Oh.
then
Oh, I see. You just let the
repurposed, not
dry.
reconditioned, but repurposed it.
No, it sounds like you're reconditioning it.
I also reconditioned it, but you repurpose, you know, your project that you did.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, from years ago that didn't fit you anymore because you lost so much weight.
I see.
So yeah, but I mean, I was kind of surprised on how bad the yarn was. You know, I don't remember it being that bad when I was working on it. So I don't know what caused in multiple places, you know, the yarn to be so bad. So I don't know. There's no moths.
I repurposed a sweater as well, and I didn't like what it was looking like, but I was like 3/4 done. And so I would take a big chunk off and, like you, wash it and let it dry and put it back together. But I left the rest. So this one little sweater has slowly gotten smaller and smaller. It's now down to one little arm stuck out.
No, I took the whole thing apart. It was one of those kind of capes that, you know, you start off with this sleeve here and it wraps around you and wraps around you again and ends up on the sleeve here. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just kind of going for it and it just kind of hung. It looked really bad.
Oh.
Wanted to use all the yarn.
Right. Went fast.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Maris.
Hi, Maris.
Hello. Well, we finished my mom's house, so I'm free.
Wonderful.
Yes, goodness gracious. I'll be glad to join in again. How is
We're so
everybody?
happy to see you again.
I love your shirt, Frank.
Yes,
Mhm.
we did talk about that already, but I got it in Ireland and I love it
wow.
too. It's my favorite t-shirt. So what are you working on anything, Maris, or did you have
Well,
time to work on anything?
I have been working a little bit on my Norwegian sweater. I'm actually I'm finishing the right button band, so that will be where the buttonholes are.
Oh
So
my
it's
goodness.
almost finished.
Oh, look at
Wow.
that.
Oh.
It is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Wow.
Stunning.
And
Would you be willing to share the name of the woman that is doing that class?
her name is Patricia Ann Fortune, and her site is knitography.com.
Fortune, I'm going to put it in the chat.
Oh, I can do that.
I'm just about there. And then you can tell me if I spelled it right.
That's it. Exactly.
Okay. Ah, it's so nice.
Thank
Wait.
you.
Right.
So did anyone go to the TKGA meeting today?
Oh, that's right. I forgot that was today.
I didn't hear about it.
Sound like a no.
Or maybe I did hear about it
Oh,
and
I didn't
realized I was
hear.
gonna not be at home. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I'm sure they recorded it. It'll be up on their site within a few days, I'm sure. Arenda did a really nice talk on reading your knitting through cables
Mm.
and
oh,
balancing them. It was very, very informative. So,
Good.
Oh, right.
I'll
Good
have
to
to
know.
see that.
mhm.
Mhm. I find it very tough to count how many rows you did till the last crossing.
Yes,
I've watched the YouTube explaining, but still after that, I still find it difficult to count.
yeah.
Too. Me too.
Do
I
you have
never,
any tricks?
I find
Should I
that
watch
really
that
difficult
video
myself.
Sorry.
I bought a row counter when I was doing my last cable sweater because I couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
Right.
And actually, the rows that you actually do the cable crossing, when when you finished that row and knit on, the actual row that the cable crossing was done is like 2 rows above where the actual crossing happens, because you
Uh-huh.
cross the stitches and then knit. So it's really deceptive for counting
Right.
which row is which. So it's a good little talk that she gave.
Oh, I need some practice on that. And many other things.
So what's the new sweater that you're working on, Frank?
I'm working on a Black Lives Matter sweater.
Oh,
Yeah, let me see. I'm making pretty good progress on it. This one will not be published in Cast On magazine. I'm doing it entirely on my own. And that is not because they don't agree with me politically. It's that they don't want to make political statements at all. In fact, Arenda said, I hope you will knit that, even though we have a policy against doing political statements.
uh-huh.
And so let me see if I can do this without pulling it off the needles. Very close. Let's see. This is the back.
Wow.
Oh, wait,
Isn't that-
there's progress.
Yes. That's the back. I'm almost done with the intarsia chart on the back. And now let me see if I can straighten out the front enough. You realize the problem is the stitches are all bunched up on my circular needles. And so if I pull hard enough, they'll just come right off.
Oh,
That's the front.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's looking good.
wait, came out really nice.
Yeah. I'm real
Clean
pleased with
and-
it.
Yep.
As you may recall, my last sweater was done intarsia in the round.
Uh-huh.
And I can show you that, I think. Well, where did I put it? It's got to be around me somewhere. Well, that doesn't make sense. Everything I own is right around me. Hmm. Anyway, it's the one with the big blocks of color that has the diagonal line across the front, and there's just one big block of color on one side and another big block of color on the other, and the slow sleeves are different colors, and the colors change at the lower half of the sweater. And so I was experimenting with intarsia in the round to do that, and I produced an hour-long video on how to do that intarsia in the round, and that's now on YouTube. And so then I thought, well, if I can do that, I should be able to do a more intricate image in intarsia and do initials in intarsia. And so I was thinking what kind of thing would I like to do? And I came up with this idea. And I I found an image online that I liked and turned it into a knitting chart. And then I designed the letters myself in a knitting chart.
Nice.
I think they turned out better, even better, I should say, on the sweater than the sample. I mean, they look
Yes.
good on the sample, but I think
Yeah.
they're even better on the sweater.
Yes, you may recall I did 3 different techniques of using those sweaters. I did them as stranded color work, and I did it as double knit color work, and I did it as intarsia color work. And after comparing the 3, they each had their pros and cons, but I chose to do it in intarsia.
It was a very interesting experiment, wasn't it, to see the different pros and cons of each style. It was really interesting, that was.
It was very interesting to see that. And the one that looked the nicest was the one you suggested, which was double knit, I thought, except that because one section of the sweater was double knit and in a square, and then all the rest of the sweater was not, you could tell where the difference was, and it made a raised area on the sweater, and that wasn't the look I wanted.
Yeah.
Give me just a second. It's really puzzling me that I can't find this sweater. I'll be right back.
What are
We
you,
had a big, go
what are
ahead.
you working on, Jenny?
So I've been still working on the tunic I was working on. I finished the back and the sleeves, and they're blocking at the moment. So I just finished the sleeves today. So then tomorrow, hopefully I'll be putting the sleeves in and then pick up for the hood. So while I'm waiting, my niece wants it's a toy from a film called Avatar, and it's a Momo, or I don't know how you pronounce it, Momo or Mumu. So all I've done, I'm knitting Mumu's head.
Oh,
Wow.
That's I don't know if it's a Momo or Mumu. I don't know how you pronounce it, but anyway, that's a head. So that's as far as I've got.
hold it up again. Everybody started to laugh and you went away, but let me spotlight you and you can show it again. Wait a minute, it's not
Yeah.
working.
Oh.
Well, just a minute. I'm still trying to make it work. I guess that worked. Now.
Yep.
So,
Now.
There you go.
yes. Oh, that's really cool.
So yeah. So I just need to stuff it, and then that will be the head. And then this is like it's I don't know what the animal is. It's got head and huge ears, and then a skinny body. So,
It makes her happy.
Sounds like me.
it's the opposite of me, then. I have a big body.
Well, I do too, but I figure maybe you can't see from here down.
That's the magic of Zoom. Zoom meeting.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Just put it up to here, my eyes picking over the top.
Well, I did find my sweater. Spotlighting is not working today. I don't understand what's going on.
I don't feel so bad now about forgetting how to turn my volume on.
I keep trying to spotlight myself and it just doesn't work. Oh, well, all I was going to say is that let me try it this way. No, it's not going to work. Never mind. But I was just going to say, I found the sweater. It had fallen down behind my suitcase. And so that's the sweater I was talking about. And this is very simple intarsia because there's no intricacy to the pattern, you see. And I used entire balls of yarn and I didn't have to cut any pieces or anything. And in my experimenting with doing the letters and the image on the back, I have come to the conclusion that butterflies and bobbins do not work. They get all tangled and wrapped around each other, and I spend 5 minutes every time I change colors trying to get the right one unwrapped from all the others around it. And so I'm using the technique of just having long strands of yarn like this, just hanging off the work. And every time I want one, I just pull the one I want and it pulls right out. That was suggested to me by Heather Storta years ago. And I'm finding it to be really successful.
Did you pre-measure those strands of yarn, or do you just?
Yes, I pre-measure them. I started, and I'm doing a video describing this whole process. I started by knitting a few rows of a swatch and then snipping 10 stitches free, and then unraveling the 10 stitches and measuring the length. And it was like 5.5 or 6 inches. So I decided a liberal estimate would be 7 inches for 10 stitches or 0.7 inches per stitch. So then in each area of the chart, I know exactly how many stitches it takes to knit that area. I can count them on the chart and then multiply that count by 0.7, and that's how many, and then add 12 inches. So I've got 6 inches for 2 different tails. And then I cut that amount of yarn. And so some of them are very long and some of them are really quite short.
I'm gonna try that technique someday. I'm gonna make a sweater with some guitars on it.
Guitars, wow.
So I saw a handkerchief downtown and I thought, oh, this is cool. I like these. It was a brightly colored, well, it was like a black background, but I would probably do dark brown or gray, maybe dark gray. And then it had brightly colored guitars. It was neat.
Nice. Yeah, I'm falling in love with intarsia. I'll probably do another sweater of intarsia for publication. I think last week I also mentioned that I am color coding the chart so that each strand of yarn is a different color. And I spent 2 days making a video showing how to do that. And then in the middle of the night, I was thinking about what I was doing and I thought I did it all wrong. And so now I'm gonna redo the videos. I redid the color coding and the chart that I'm working on, and my new idea worked much better. So I have to just start all over making the videos again.
That will be helpful. I have to see that because I haven't done any Intarsha work yet, and I kind of understand what you explained last week, but not enough. So
I came up with a good idea. Well, I mean, it's probably, you know, there's nothing new under the sun kind of idea. But I don't have anything to mark on my pattern. But I took a picture of my chart, or I downloaded it as a PDF, and then I opened it up. I have a Mac, so I opened it up in preview, and you have that toolbar up above, and you can take an arrow, and then I put the arrow next to the row I was working on. And since I was working flat, I only switched it every other row. But it was a lace pattern, and well, that little swatch I showed you earlier, and I kept forgetting what row I was on. And that worked really well.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it was easy, and you had it on your computer, and you had your chart right there, and you just move it in preview.
Right.
Up.
Did you, may I ask, did you complete the lace in one sitting, or when you turned it off, when you turned it back on, was your arrow still where it should be?
Yes.
Ah, excellent.
I just left that picture open, you know, shut my computer off. I mean, I never close all my tabs or any of that stuff.
Ah, okay.
I like to, you know, waste power or whatever.
No, no, it was neat.
I left the preview open, and it stays exactly where it was.
I've
in
done something
edit mode.
similar with highlighting. I've done that sort of thing, but I am not as sharp as you and have many times turned things off. Being tidy, I think it's called. Go back and go on.
Well, I don't need that window anymore. Let me close that window. Oops.
Exactly. I'm wasting air or something. I don't know what it is.
I have a sister who's plenty sharp. She's as sharp as me or sharper, and she closes every single tab and shuts the computer all the way down every single time she uses it.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
So I don't think it has I think it's just, you know, personality preference. So
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
I'll share with you the chart.
Oh, good.
And you can see that?
Yes.
yes.
Okay, that's what the image is supposed to look like when I'm done, but I'm knitting from the top. So I discovered that, of course, I knew that meant I needed to invert the image upside down. But then I found out if I just invert it upside down, it reverses the image left and right. So I have to invert it upside down and also invert it left and right or horizontally. And so I did that, and then I color coded it, and this is the result. You can see that.
Oh, look at that.
And so all of the dark colors are black and all of the light colors are white. So that's how I distinguished which of the two colors I'm using. It's just a two-color knit, right? So I just used light and dark to tell me which color to use. And this is why I know where to start a new strand of yarn, and I can count the number of stitches in that block. the big green block in the middle, the largest area of black, I did not count. I simply used the black ball to do that section. But all of the other colors that represent strands of black are small enough that I could count the number of stitches easily and multiply it times 0.7 and add 12 inches to that, and then measure that length of yarn, and that's what I used for that section.
Yeah, this is different than the one you showed us before, the way you broke down the colors or the strands,
Yeah,
like that dark teal up at the top. I remember that's different.
yeah, there are several differences here that were the result of me rethinking exactly how to do it. And anyway, so that's
Well,
what I
that would be
was
great.
talking
I
about.
can't wait to see that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing is, Frank, is that with all your exactness, it takes all the suspense out of.
Well, let me relieve you of that fear. In doing this very precise execution, I suddenly find that 2 rows later, I have used the wrong strand for a section. I crossed, it was supposed to be one in one area, and it's now in the other area. And so it's the wrong length.
Right.
And so then I have to
Yeah.
fudge to get it back to the right place. Or so no, do not worry about that. There's plenty of room to be creative as you go.
Yeah. Best laid plans.
That's right. Plan out every single stitch and then just don't do them the same way, the way I planned them.
When you were all talking about felting earlier, felting yarns when you're knitting, when I've
Yes, ma'am.
tried to do that, you can still see where the felted join is. Am I not rubbing it for long enough?
I think you may not be rowing it long enough, but it may have something to do with the yarn too. Mine is very giving on not being exact. The stitches are, some are big, some are, I mean, you know, the thread is big and little, so it's forgiving. I think a very attractive, thin, exact thread, it might be harder, I would think.
Oh, okay. Maybe
And then-
that's what it is then.
The other thing is, when I was doing a lot of hand spinning, you want to pull the ends, each end. So like if you had cut them, then you want to definitely pull out some of the fibers so that they taper.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
Okay. It's still I tried that, teasing the ends so that they're not flat, but
Mhm.
it still almost has a different look, like a matted look to it.
Oh,
Mhm. Definitely.
And you can sort of see that. So I've done it and let it go when it's been sort of down the side or something. But if it's across the middle of the front or the back, you can just see it and it looks horrible.
Do you take some of the plies out of each end?
I did try that, but then you've got to be careful, because otherwise, if you're not careful, you get a thin bit if you don't
Well,
if you don't line the ends up.
what I do is I try and take out a certain length of like half of the plies from
Yeah.
each, and then overlap them so that the end goes a
Mhm.
bit over where there's less ply, so that it gets to be more consistent size. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to give
That's
it a
what I
try for sure. But
That's
you know,
what I tried
I
to
don't have a whole lot to do, so I don't mind doing a whole lot.
The method you just described, Maris, is what I tried too with 100% wool.
Uh-huh.
I think it's better than just using the whole, let's say it's a 2-ply or 3-ply, together, which makes a thicker part.
Right.
I open the yarn.
Uh-huh.
I cut, let's say, 2 of the ply on this side and 1 on this side, and I try to match them, and then I rub them. I don't know if that's what you described.
Right, but I don't cut them, I pull them.
Chuck. Okay.
Yeah, because if you
Okay.
cut them, you get
Yeah.
that sharp edge,
Right.
I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Right.
And do you just dry rub, or do you use water as well?
I use water.
I do.
Oh,
use-
I thought it was called spit splicing because you put it in your mouth and you spit.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
That way
I use-
too.
I use saliva, and I heard that because it was saliva, it had something to do with the enzyme. How do you say enzyme in English?
Some
Enzyme.
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 Inside.
With the wool, and it works better than water. But I haven't read anything scientific on this subject.
Well, if
I
it
suppose that
helps,
depends
I've
upon
heard
what you've been
something
eating.
similar. So,
Really? Okay.
yeah. Yeah, that it had a different quality about it than water, and that it was better to use.
But
But I
not if you've
haven't
had
had a lot of
tomato soup.
success with it, probably because I'm often using a superwash wool, and
Yeah.
that doesn't felt as well,
Right.
No.
or it doesn't felt at all. And your yarn has to felt. That's what binds it together. So
Yep.
I've had many experiences of rubbing and rubbing and rubbing and rubbing and rubbing until I was just sure it was well felted. And then I go to knit it, and when it gets to that part, it pulls apart just as I'm making the final stitch. It's very frustrating to me.
And weaving in ends isn't bad.
No, the amount of time I've tried spit splicing and failed, I could have weaved in a dozen ends. So,
That's true.
Yes.
but what Joellen is doing is trying to create a continuous yarn for doing the grafting of the bind off, the
Right.
Oh.
invisible bind
okay.
off. And so
Okay.
that's not
Yeah.
quite the same as just, you don't just weave in an end and pick that up. That
Right.
would be really hard to match, I think.
And I don't think the spit spliced area would be consistent enough to match the yarn
No.
to show
Well,
on the bind off like that.
and then my yarn looks like a carnival or a
Yeah, hold it up
confetti.
again. I don't think, I don't think Maris was here when you showed the yarn. See, it's a very a nubby yarn.
Oh, is it
And
100% wool?
no,
No,
it's cotton,
It's,
wool, and silk.
Oh,
Right.
wow. Boy, I don't know what would be successful
And-
for that.
and the other thing is the yarn itself is with all those threads, it has poofy areas and then down
Yeah.
thin. Yeah, I'm not worried about the strength in that I really cross it over well enough to where it's several stitches have gone along. And
Yeah.
in the area that it's in, it's not going to be under a lot of strain.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to give it a try, but this is my sweater. If it was a gift, I might reconsider, but this one's for me, so I'll find out.
Oh,
Well, we're at the end of the hour. So does anybody have anything else they want to share or ask? Now is the time.
Well, you could make it a little longer so that you can make sure and cut out any of that walking up and down the stairs with my computer. So we were online. I wouldn't
No,
mind
that's what's so appealing, is that it's all so natural and we're just humans hanging out together.
that. I think that's
But
that's why
it's
it's
so
so
nice.
comfortable here.
Yes,
It's so nice meeting you all. Please be back next week. That's what I ask.
yes.
yes.
See everyone.
It's really
It
good
is
to see
lovely.
you all again.
Really.
If anybody is viewing this as a video and has not been to the meeting, come join us because we have a lot of fun, as you see.
Wait,
Bye-bye, everyone.
bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Have a
Bye.
nice week. Bye.
Have a good week.